Welcome to the Zag Talk Live podcast. My name is Guy Danoff, and I will be your host. And I am joined with Shape America CEO Stephanie Morris is in the house. We also have from Missouri our president-elect, and that's going to be Abigail Lingle, and all the way from Hawaii. It's the afternoon over there, and not to get people jealous, but it's like 80 degrees and sunny. And so she has joined us all the way from Hawaii, and that's going to be with Dr. Erin Centeio. And what I'd like to start with, though, in case you've been following me on Twitter, you probably have seen I've kind of been around. So I want to give a couple of shout outs and some thank yous. And I'm going to start right here. On Monday and Tuesday, I was actually in Indiana at In Touch 2022. I was part of that convention behind the scenes as well as doing a session. And I thought I would share with you guys something kind of cool. And this is kind of fun. Here it is. And there is We Are Family. I just want to say thank you to President Cassie Brooks, Carol DeHaven, who works with the future professionals. And I sat in her luncheon, as well as the new chair of communications, Alyssa Jackson. We all had the chance to present together. And I also had the opportunity to live stream on Monday, Mike Martinez out of New York, as well as the infamous Joe Bailey out of Wisconsin. And then on Thursday and Friday, you might have noticed that I made my way over back to Indiana again for the NFL Combine. And I got to do some live streaming work and bring 11 students with me, as we would know as future professionals. And we just had an amazing time. And so with that, I just got to tell you now, here we are. I go from streaming Adam Schefter live on Friday to streaming this esteemed panel. So I got to tell you, I'm very humbled to have all three of you here. So with that, let's just dive right in. And let's go ahead and start with, I want to ask this first question is, Stephanie, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background story and how did you get here, meaning involved in this project?
Involved in Shape America, right? And
yeah.
And here we are today. I have had such an amazing path, and I'm so grateful for so many twists and turns that were super unexpected along the way. But essentially, I came up through a marketing and communications background. I actually mentioned this on Twitter recently, but I majored in Russian and Eurasian studies. So current situations are near and dear to my heart right now. I've been feeling all the feelings about the state of our global affairs. But I was a Russian Eurasian studies major. I moved to DC to do something with that. And along the way, fell into marketing and communications as a way to pay bills and do meaningful work, especially for nonprofit organizations. And what kept pulling me in closer was education work on behalf of public education. And I had the opportunity to work for 5 years specifically for higher education. And I learned so much in that time. Then I went into a period where for about 3 years, I was a deputy executive director for an early childhood education organization and learned a lot about the importance of physical movement for young learners, early learners. And from there came into the opportunity to be CEO at Shape America. And I've been with Shape America for 4 years, and I've loved every minute, as challenging as it is at times, as we all know, to work in this field, because too many times physical education and health education are not subjects that get the respect and the visibility they deserve for being so meaningful in our schools and having the kind of impact that they have on our students. So long story short, that's what brought me to Shape America today. I am super grateful. It's an amazing community, and I love being part of it.
And we love being a part of it too, as our leader. That's all I can say. All right, so I'm going to flip this over now to Dr. Centeio. Her background is she's an associate professor at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and she's also the chair of the Shape Professional Preparation Council. And so I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked them. Let's talk about, your background story and how did you get here?
Yeah, thanks, Guy. So please call me Erin. But
okay.
I was a lost undergraduate soul. I went into undergrad thinking that I was going to be a nursing major, and I started on that path and then went into athletic training and then found my way through athletic training and kinesiology. Um, and then athletic training wasn't for me. And so I decided to um, go into physical therapy and occupational therapy. I wasn't really sure which one, probably physical therapy, but I decided that I was going to have kind of my teaching certificate as a backup in case I didn't want to go to grad school right away. And I had always fought the idea of being a teacher because I have a family full of teachers and I thought that it wasn't for me. Well, I got in a car accident and I was late for some student teaching hour or observation hours that I was supposed to be in. And I had a very hard professor at that semester. Her name was Darla Castelli. And she told me that I had to make up my hours over Christmas break because I had missed them because of my car accident. And so through that, I met Mary Kennedy, who was the student advisor at that time for IAFERD, Illinois AFERD. And Mary got a hold of me and said, "Oh, I'm glad you're here doing observations, but you should really be involved in IAFERD." And I'm like, "Well, what's IAFERD?" And so she kind of stuck her hooks into me. And I don't know, soon after that, I think she had me running for president-elect for the Student Association of IAFERD. And I did that and kind of went down that IAFERD road. And honestly, it just hooked me. So while I was student teaching and kind of after that, I really just fell in love with teaching. I taught for a couple of years in Illinois and Iowa before going back to get my PhD with Darla Castelli, actually, ironically enough, at the University of Texas. And I decided to go back to grad school because I really wanted to have a bigger impact. Like I loved teaching and I loved my students, but I knew that number one, I didn't know if it was going to challenge me enough for what I wanted to do long term, but also if I could help students be better at what they do and going out and being teachers, then I could impact that many more students in the K-12 setting. So that's how I made my way into higher education. And because of my background, I really just have an affinity and a love for working with students and helping them be who they are. So.
Erin, that is such a cool story. And most people don't know this, a little trivia. While most people know me from MOSHAPE, but back in the day when I was first came out of school and I got my CSCS, I actually presented at IAFERD back when I just got out of graduate school. So I was actually hooked in the same kind of way, although I didn't stick around, but I was in for a few years and really enjoyed it. So when I finally got back into higher education and MOSHAPE, it all kind of made sense. But yeah, I've got that. We've got that IAFERD connection. That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right, and now our third guest is going to be Abigail Lingle, and here we go. You are the MOSHAPE future professional president-elect, as well as the Shape America Undergraduate Student Leadership Network. You're one of the student leaders, and Abby, welcome to the program. To my knowledge, this is the first time any future professional has ever been streamed live in real time. How does it feel?
Honestly, feels really exciting that I am building this new area for future professionals. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here, especially these two amazing women that have so much history that is just so much to look up to.
So, Abby, your first question is let's hear a little bit about your background. And of course, how did you get here?
Yeah, so my story's not as long as these two women, but that makes sense because I'm only a future professional, so I'm an undergraduate. So my story is I started going to Northwest Missouri State University as a sophomore. I transferred in first semester there, not knowing anyone. It was kind of during like that after COVID time, so we were still kind of like social distancing. So meeting people was kind of challenging, but I got roped into the physical education club that we have on campus. Well, come spring semester, our president was leaving and we were looking for someone to step up. And let's just say I got nominated and put into the president position my second semester at college there. So a little nerve-wracking, but I said, okay, let's go for it. And then from there, I got pushed kind of into looking at becoming MOSHAPE president-elect here in November, or this past November, which I went full force for because I said, why not get involved? That's always my thing. And then about a year ago, I want to say one of my professors, Dr. Jody Lease, actually sent me the undergraduate student leadership and networking form to fill out. So I said, what is this? I don't know, but sure, let's go for it. So went into it. I was part of them for about a year, and then they decided to get some student leaders going. And of course, I said, yeah, I'll nominate myself. And I had a lot of professors backing me up on doing it. So I got nominated to go and do it. And then I got picked as a student leader at the national level. And I work with an amazing man named Chris from New York. So I got that networking experience with him. And that's kind of my background.
That's so exciting. You also can see on the screen that Anna Forslito, MOSHAPE president, is giving you some love, as well as to actually all three of you ladies, as you are her favorite. And I guess I'm awesome too. I know I'll just say this, just do not believe everything you see on social media. You know, what can I say? All right. So with that, let's dive into our second question. And let's go right here. And this is a question, and Stephanie, we'll start with you because I think this is a really important question. And this is something that, you themed pretty heavily when we were at Washington, D.C. for the Leadership Summit. And the question is this: what is being done for future professional voices so that they can be heard?
Yeah, that's such an important question, Guy. And we had an amazing leadership summit with so many state leaders coming together to talk about the current state of affairs in each of their states and to think through together how we can collaborate and connect to serve our future professionals and to serve the overall HP profession. And it was this amazing experience. And in many ways, to what I think you just sort of pointed out, it was building on conversations that had been happening for months and years, like leading up to this moment of, specifically thinking through the future professional and their needs and where they're at, and how can we be there to support them, lift them up. I think that it goes without saying that it's a unique time on so many levels because so many future professionals have, been through heat and peat programs in recent years where student teaching is not possible. Or if student teaching is happening, it's in a very different set of circumstances where kids are masked, they're physically distanced. Maybe it's through a screen. We just live in such strange times, and so many future professionals themselves are having classes through a screen, right? And there's good parts about that. I recently had the opportunity to visit Lynn Johnson's class at Plymouth University in Rhode Island. We talked about the good pieces to that for sure, but there's also a lot of really challenging pieces to that. So what are we doing? Well, I get to invite Erin and Abby to talk more specifically about different things that have been happening to bring future professionals together, to hear from them and to support them. But it is definitely true that I think it's never been more important that we continue to find ways to hear from them directly about what they need and to think through how we connect with them and how we provide resources and opportunities to connect for them. I'm really excited by the work of the Professional Preparation Council that Erin has chaired for the past couple of years. I'm also really excited about the Emerging Leaders Innovation Team, which is also a place at Shape America for emerging leaders to come together and think through how they can contribute and create space for that voice to be heard, for that contribution to happen. And we will continue to find ways to do that through National Convention, through the ELIT, through the Professional Preparation Council, and in every other way that we can, for sure. So I'm going to stop there because I'm really excited to hear more from Erin and Abby myself about things that are happening, but it's a great question. Thanks, Guy.
Absolutely. So Erin, let's throw this question back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Guy, and thanks, Stephanie. So, I think that one of the big things that Shape America is doing lately is the development of the Undergraduate Student Leadership Network. So that kind of came to fruition through COVID. There was a lot of other groups that were doing things for faculty, for teachers, where people were getting together. And from the Professional Preparation Council, as well as the Emerging Leaders Innovation Team and the student significant interest group within Shape America, we all got together and said, we're missing something for our students. And that's a really important group. And so that's kind of where that Undergraduate Student Leadership Network developed. And for a time, it was the leadership team between the Professional Prep Council, the ELIT group, and then the Student SIG. And I think in order to get student voices, we really wanted student leaders. And so Abby and Chris had applied and were chosen to be our first student leaders for the network. And I think that, we're still evolving in how student voices are going to be heard. And I think that there's some plans in place, but the one thing that I think is so important is that the network is free. It's something that Shape is offering that's open to everybody. You don't have to be a Shape America member. And then I think there's other opportunities for voices to be heard if they do become a student member of Shape America, and through kind of those more formal channels within the student interest group and things like that. So I'll stop there and let Abby talk a little bit more.
So, Abby, obviously, this is so important, especially student leadership's at a premium. And I'm saying that I've been in higher ed teaching as a professor for 13 years. And all I can tell you is I get to work with students in leadership roles all the time. And I really want to hear your answer on, what is being done from your perspective as you've got 2 more years of school left so that your voice can be heard.
Yeah, I think there's a handful of things that are being done, and it's at every single level. Like the first level is colleges being able to have that club and opening space for us to start networking just with our own classmates. Because coming out of COVID and like having those freshmen who don't know anyone, our seniors don't even know anyone because we had those COVID years of mask on our face and social distancing, not being able to meet together. So the colleges getting able to get clubs going together, that's a good one at the local level. And then state level, I know us at Missouri, we're starting to get a future professional committee up and rolling because we haven't had one for a while. And that's just for all of our future professionals across Missouri to start getting together and networking and talking. And Zoom is a great opportunity for that, because then when you go to the national level, we have this Zoom opportunity for the undergrads. Like COVID allowed us to see what Zoom's potential is and allows us to connect with people across the state or across the nation, across the state, anywhere. Because our last Zoom, I actually had people from Colorado and Minnesota and everyone else just reaching out to me because I am a student leader, but at the same time, we're in the same district. We're getting ready to get to know each other, go to SHAPE convention. Like having all those different levels opportunities let us work up to our comfort level of where we want to start networking at.
Wow. As you can see there, our executive director, wonderful to see this topic highlighted. Just for the record, as me being MOSHAPE president-elect, this is a topic that I ran on. I am absolutely passionate about it. It's an area that I just want to see grow and develop. I know Anna Forslito has started that process, but we are doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down of whatever it takes, Abby. And we need you and like our president, future professionals president, Brooke, for the same thing, is that we got to continue to spread this message. So my next question, and we'll start with Erin this time. So Erin, what opportunities actually exist for future professionals? And also, why is it important that they get involved at the state association or society level?
Yeah, thank you, Guy. So, I think first the state association, and as Abby was talking about at the university level, is really important because that's your local connection. And I think that the most important thing that you're going to get out of being involved as an undergraduate or as an initial teacher going into the field is the network. And the network
Right.
is so important because it helps you stay positive, it helps you stay connected, it helps you have relationships that you might never have had if you didn't get involved in those networks. And so those local ties are going to help you kind of build your network to then expand it to the state, and then hopefully to the district, and then to the national level. And so I think that all of those levels are really important, and there's different opportunities that exist depending on where you're at, right? So
Right.
I know that the Eastern District, I think it's still called the Eastern District, has like their own student leadership network, right? For the states that are within that district. And they have a really great opportunity for students in that district. Whereas some states have really exciting, student leadership opportunities within their state. And then there's some states that don't necessarily have those opportunities. So those national and those district opportunities are really important for those students that don't have the opportunity to kind of make those connections.
Wow, great answer. And Abby, let's go to you with this question. Like, what opportunities are you seeing? Because obviously you're now involved in a few, and of course, as our president-elect, what can we anticipate over the next 2 years?
Yeah, so like Erin said, there's a lot of opportunities. It's just you kind of have to go out there and search for them. And starting at that college level, that networking, that's kind of where I started from. I didn't know anyone. I'm originally from Iowa. I knew nothing about Missouri, but you start at that college level. And then I build from there. I went from knowing my classmates and my professors, and then they got me connected to MOSHAPE. And I just kept going up from there. And at MOSHAPE, before we even become president, I just got able to talk to teachers and other professors and executives, and they're already pulling me and saying, hey, you should think about student teaching at this place or this place, because they know me now and they know my style and know what schools would be good at that. And then going up to the central district or any district level, and then all the way to a national level, it's if I don't want to stay in Missouri, or if someone else doesn't want to stay in their state, getting that connection, getting to know how that state is ran through their PE, because every state's a little bit different. We don't do PE like Hawaii does PE, or like New York does PE. So if you're not fitted for your state, getting to know other states and people in other states, that networking, that connection really allows you to see where you want to go with your career.
Abby, I think I'll just use the words of Chris Staley. You are an absolute rock star. And I think what you're telling everyone is the importance of the networking. I'm going to say this, I took 11 students to the NFL Combine. What was the ultimate reason? It was for actually making connections and networking. It's the same thing that we're doing in our societies and our associations, except that we're just trying to make more things available. So with that, let's bring it home to Shape America's CEO, Stephanie Morris, as you unpack that question on what opportunities exist.
Yeah, I loved listening to the responses from Erin and Abby. And honestly, the whole time, what I keep thinking as I'm listening to them is what opportunities don't exist. I think between Erin's story about being mentored by Darla Castelli and being, and Mary Kennedy, and having these opportunities that continue to come up, and same for Abby, just the opportunities that continue to come up, and they both saw them and decided, yes, this is like a path for me. And who knew I'd be here, but here I am. I think for every emerging professional listening right now, I hope they're thinking the same thing, that when that opportunity presents itself, take it. It is for you. We want you to be part of this community at your local level, your state level, and your national level for sure. And the other thing I keep thinking about is those moments at national convention that I've seen so many times, and I'm getting so excited for in just 6 weeks now, I think something like that, where people connect in person who maybe know each other from participating on the student leadership forum Zoom calls that are held monthly, or they follow each other on Twitter, or they're part of the Friday night family Zoom calls that I know also happen within our HB community, where they connect in person and they have that moment of, oh my gosh, I know you, I follow you on Twitter, I've met you on Zoom. Those are such powerful, amazing moments where you see our whole national community come together and be so excited to be together, to be in the profession that we're in, and to be advocating for what we know is right for children and for students. I'm really excited for that in just a very short amount of time. And also, I think back to the specific opportunity right there for emerging professionals, when they connect with their mentors in person, that they have only known through online opportunities thanks to social media, right? But when they come together in person and really have that connection and see so many other opportunities ahead of them at a national level that they didn't necessarily see before.
Yeah, I'm going to actually ask you all a quick question. I know it's not on the script, but I think Matt Wood out of Washington, raises a great point here about social networks. I know at MOSHAPE, we valued this past year from November that we wanted to specifically recruit future professionals on our media team so that we could pick their brains on how to use tools such as Instagram as well as TikTok. And I was just wondering, Stephanie, we'll start with you with that question. Do you think that's a great strategy? And you think more states should be looking for future professionals to get involved to help share and tell that story?
Absolutely. Two thoughts on that one. First, that's the whole purpose of the Emerging Leaders Innovation Team. And I hope that more emerging professionals like Abby will apply to be part of that. We established it to make sure we had a direct pipeline to hear from emerging professionals and to make sure they saw themselves reflected, and also to really understand their needs, because they are specific from other groups of professionals within our community. And two, just to really continue to emphasize that the opportunity is there. If emerging leaders want, it is for you, see it, go for it, grab it, and look for your mentors along the way, because we are so excited to nurture you on that path and to support you and champion you as you progress.
Yeah, and Erin, I know that this is an area that's also near and dear to you. So why don't you give us some of your thoughts on this topic on leveraging social networks for the future professionals?
Yeah, I just can't speak enough to how important it is to have future professionals involved in that. From a university standpoint, from a state standpoint, at the national level, those networks are so important. And I think COVID has only helped us understand the extent in which the social networks can be so important and so guiding and helping you build relationships with people that live really far away. I personally would say that I'm not great at social networking. I'm on the groups, but I do a lot of observation and not necessarily a lot of posting. And that's why future professionals are so important, I think, because they keep us grounded. They keep us in touch with what's going on. So, we're not pushing Facebook when Facebook is really not cool anymore. They really just help you keep in touch with what's going on. And so that's always going to be changing, right? And so if we don't look to our future leaders to help us out with that, then we're going to become obsolete.
Yeah. So Abby, I'm going to throw this to you because the way that you grabbed my attention, and it's very difficult to do with social media. When we asked you, hey, when you were talking to us about this new, network, this, this future professionals network, we all got excited, and we're like, well, yeah, Chris Daly or I could do it, or Anna could do it. And we're like, no. How would you like to, by tomorrow, you give them 24 hours and you get 90 seconds, and could you maybe, I don't know, do a little promo for it? So instead of doing a promo, you just tell your story in the most honest way of why you're so excited. And it just blew up. So talk to us a little bit about this piece on social networks.
Yeah, first off, when I did that video, for everyone to know, it was 90 seconds, but it took 3 hours. I kept messing up, but come to find out that that's natural. That's normal. That's all that happens. But no, yeah, they asked me to do that for MOSHAPE and also for the undergraduate student leadership networking team, because I'm part of the MOSHAPE social media team. I'm one of the future professionals that they decided to grab a hold of and get involved in. I think just social networking overall is a phenomenal thing. We live in a great time and era where we can talk with anyone across the nation, across the world. We have that connection. It's great. And I think it's honestly phenomenal that future professionals get involved at any committee or anything that deals with their state or their national, because if you guys watch the video, that's one thing I said in the video is Shape America is not just an organization. Shape America is us. We are the future professionals. We shape how this organization is going to go. Wow. And if we want this to be an amazing organization when we become teachers in 10, 15, 20 years, however long we're teaching, the organization is going to be phenomenal because of us and not just because of what's happened in the past. So I think it's time to get our foot in the door as future professionals and get going on what we believe should be happening out there, because we're fresh new ideas and we can just push that.
Wow. I'm speechless. You should tell us how you feel more often. All right. As we're starting to kind of wrap down, if you have comments, like if you're watching the stream right now, you can actually either put in a question or just make a comment, and we'll try to get to it. So, but we'll go on to our next question. This is kind of also an important one. And here it is. How can and why should future professionals get involved with Shape America at the national level, considering this is kind of a new initiative? And we'll start with Stephanie Morris.
Yeah, I think Abby just put it brilliantly. Like, I feel like if I could just repackage everything she just said, this is your organization, this is your profession. And so realizing where we needed to go and what we need to do better to serve students and to be more impactful in schools and districts. Exactly what Abby just said, you have to get involved. You owe it to yourselves as a profession, you owe it to your students. Again, I cannot emphasize enough, the opportunity is there for you. So embrace it, reach it, and work with your mentors and know that we welcome you and we support you and we're excited for you to get involved. I also think that not only do you owe it to the profession, right? Because it is your profession, it's your field, but also you owe it to yourself. I think you will get no greater sense of satisfaction and fulfillment and happiness and joy than when you connect with your greater community, whether that be at a state level, whether that be at a national level. We all know teaching is one of the hardest professions in the world. It always was. COVID made that a million times harder, but it is one of the hardest, but also most fulfilling professions in the world. And I think that a key piece to avoiding burnout and making sure that you can recharge and restore and keep going in that profession that drives you and does fulfill you with passion is connecting with others. And so all to say, it's as much about giving back to your profession, giving back to your students, giving back to your peers in terms of being part of this and being engaged, as much as it is also about giving back to yourself and restoring through your connections with your friends, with your peers, with your mentors, with your greater community, to know and realize you are not alone. You are part of something much bigger. And there are so many people right alongside you who believe what you believe and who are there to support you and who are working with you every day.
So, Stephanie, just to echo that, Anna Forcillo makes a great point, and Erin, speak to this. You guys met as future professionals, is that correct? Isn't that what just Stephanie Morris just talked about?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Anna and I met, SHAPE used to have, or AFERD used to have a national student leadership conference. And so it was an actual physical conference, and we did a lot of like ropes course and team building and things like that. And so Anna and I was part of Illinois AFERD, and they sent the future professionals to this conference. And so I met Anna and a whole lot of others that are still involved in the profession about 18 years ago at a national student leadership network, and we've stayed connected. And I think just to reiterate what Stephanie said and talk about the importance of it, I 100% agree with her and Abby with what they had said. And I think that that network is just so important. And like, it's a network all year round because of social media and being able to stay connected. But I have to tell you, like, the experience of going to a national conference is just so mind blowing. And it's like your people that get you, people that understand how exciting it is to like wear a new pair of tennis shoes, because not everybody cares as much about tennis shoes as physical education teachers, right? Or, just to see friends that you've made. If Anna and I didn't have the opportunity to meet up at national convention, there's no way that we would stay as in touch as we have over the last 18 years, right? Because it just doesn't make it. a priority. But when you have that opportunity, those relationships that you build become your team, your support team. And so now, again, you have that local support team of people that are in your state, but now you have this broader range of people that just pick you up when you need to be picked up and help you be the best that you can be.
Wow, Erin, great answer. And Abby, just bring this one home. I know you kind of already touched on it, but maybe give us a different angle to it. And same question is, how can and why should your peers actually get involved with Shape America at the national level, specifically at this time?
Yeah, so just to echo what both these ladies said is you need to network, you need to get out there. It's how you connect. These are people that care about you and understand the same passion you have and the drive you have. And getting connected at a national level opens the door for so many other opportunities. Since I've been a part of this group, I've had a lot of people across the state kind of get to know who I am, I get to know them, and they've given me other opportunities. They let me know some scholarships that have been going on, but I want to bring it back down to like the college level. If you are at a college that does not have a PE club and you want one, start it. This is your time to shine. This is your time, future professionals, to get something going. If your state doesn't have a future professional club going, start it. Get knowing people, go to your conventions, get a group of people together, just start Zooming, talking, getting to know one another. And if you need a professor to help you, I can promise you there are a ton of professors and teachers and retired teachers who would be more than passionate to help you guys get this going and get networking, because we all understand, each one of us on this call knows how much networking is important. And that is where we are today, is we've networked, and that is why we are thriving and doing amazing. And if you guys need help getting that network connection, contact any one of us, contact the professor. We are all here to help you guys network. I'm a junior in college, and I'd be more than willing to talk to any one of you. If you're a first year teacher, second year teacher, you're a freshman in college, you don't know if this is your path, network, reach out. We are all here for you guys, and we want to support you all as much as possible, because this is an amazing organization. Each state is amazing. Shape is amazing. I haven't been to convention yet, but I'm so excited to go, and I have people ready to meet me. I'm just happy.
So I'm just going to say this. Abby is not kidding. I was at In Touch 22. Abby, the text you sent me was, hey, who are the future professional leaders at Indiana Shape? And I was, because I was so busy, I've just said, hey, let's just take you to this main source, which is their sponsor, which is someone who works at Purdue University. That's Carol D. Haven, past president. Oh, yeah. Carol's a rock star. And I got a chance to, this is exactly what you're talking about, Abby, so that we can build this network and we can all get on the same page, learn and grow and have discussions. And yeah, I just think you've nailed it on the head. This whole broadcast. Your enthusiasm just makes me want to go back like 25 years and wish I was back in college. Well, maybe not, but it sometimes does actually. So thank you. And all right, so here's our final question. As we get ready, if there's anyone still on the stream that wants to ask a question, feel free. This is your time. But I want to kind of end this question because I think that, and I'm saying this also, even though I know, Abby, you sent this to me, but I can say that this happened to me. And my great example is when I was involved in Illinois, AFERD. And that is, here's the question. And Erin, we'll start with you. In what ways can young professionals, right, stay involved at the national level while beginning their teaching careers? Because we know when you're actually in school, it's a lot easier to be involved. But once you have the responsibility of, having to teach, and sometimes, what the statistic is somewhere, I don't know, 40 or 50% also coach a sport, big time commitment. So what strategies do you have for us of how young professionals can stay plugged in?
Yeah, thanks for that. So I think social media is one way to kind of stay plugged in. Trying to do online professional developments, keeping your membership active so that you can get the free journals and the free information that comes from Shape America. I think that that's really important, but also your state organization as well, because I think that they offer different things, and the news that comes out of them, the opportunities are different, right? And so both of those are really important. And then I think the other thing that I would say as a young professional is don't be afraid to ask for money for time
Mm.
to do professional development and to go to a state or a national convention. You know, it might take a little bit for your principal or your administration to understand that physical education teachers and health education teachers do professional development too, and you might have to um, you know, give them some of that information about we are a real profession and we do real things. But once you get them to understand that, there is money there for professional development. And so I think asking is one of the things that I would say the most of beginning teachers is don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to ask repeatedly. If you get turned down, that's okay. Ask next year.
Absolutely. And Abby, we'll have you take this question next. Now, granted, you're going to have to project a little forward here because you're not in this situation, but you asked the question for a reason. So why don't you give us your spin on this question?
Yeah, so one thing is when I thought about this question, it's because I've been told through some teachers and everything, it's like your first year or second year into teaching, you focus on your teaching, getting your kids down, getting all that down. And I'm like, that's great, but I don't want to become disconnected from this group already. I've gotten into it. I've loved it. I want to stay a part of this organization. I'm like, how can I do that? And I think one way to do that, and I will do it, is be a part of a committee. Committees take a little bit of work depending on your state, what committee you're in, but being a part of the committee, you're still part of the shape, or you're still part of the state group. You're a part of having a voice in it and know what's going on. And then, like Erin said, go to the conventions, try to get your principals and supervisors either to come with you so they can see how phenomenal it is and why all PE people should be going, or just teachers in general should be going to conferences like this, because it is a way for us to learn new things that are going on.
Wow, great answer. And I guess, Stephanie, kind of to wrap things up, is if you could, I'm sure that this is something that your group talks about all the time, but how can we get the young professionals to stay involved with the national organization?
I love everything that both Erin and Abby just said. And yeah, I would just echo them and say, we talk about the importance of advocacy on a spectrum, and it starts with, especially as a really young, brand new teacher, learning to work with your team of other teachers who may or may not be employing standards-based best practices, right? And so having the courage, as Judy LoBianco would say, the moral courage to step up and really speak to what we know physical education and health education need to be for kids today and what it shouldn't be. I think that is the first step on that spectrum. But as it continues, we hope that new teachers will also advocate for being part of the process in scheduling physical education for students that have the opportunity to participate in a program, or advocating also for funding for their PE program in their school. And maybe that continues at the school board level, maybe it continues at the state level, and then definitely at some point we hope it continues at the national level. But that advocacy chain, to see it sort of continue, we hope that every new teacher will find their path to being on it, and know that, just as Erin said, we're here to support them along the way. There are justification toolkits on our website to help make the case for attending a national convention. I'm certain every state affiliate organization also has those justification toolkits for attending a convention at the state level, because professional development is critical. Connecting with peers and mentors is critical. And these are all pieces that I really hope those listening right now, our emerging professionals, will take to heart and Google right now as they're listening and find those kits and find their way to national convention in New Orleans in late April and to their state conventions.
Well, Stephanie, as you were talking, as to no surprise, our executive director for MOSHAPE chimed in this comment, and I think he's dead on when he says, super important for every future professional to seek out and introduce yourself to the national state leaders. When attending presentations, don't hesitate to ask questions and engage in discussions. And Stephanie, I just want to say this because I've had the privilege of serving under your leadership as a consultant with with what we do during the conventions. And I think one of the great things that has been built into Shape Tampa has been the added time so these things can take place. I was wondering if maybe you could comment on that really briefly so that these future professionals know it's not like you're just going to sit there and just write notes the whole time at all.
No, absolutely. It's so funny. I was thinking back as you read Tom's comment to, I got to attend the Wisconsin State Convention last fall. And I was in a session where I was a co-presenter aboard, but we were trying to be distanced, right, for COVID. And so I was sitting a little bit apart from the panel in a row, and 2 seats down from me was a student, and an emerging professional. And once I was introduced, I sort of heard her gasp, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're the CEO of Shape America." And I was like, "Yeah." And it's exciting to meet you. And I'm really glad that you're introducing yourself and that we're connecting. And tell me more about your story, right? Like, tell me more about what brought you into this field. Tell me more about what inspires you to keep going and what you're excited about from the future. I learn just as much in these interactions, in these moments when I meet emerging professionals one-on-one or in classroom settings. And so I always am mindful of that and sincere in my appreciation of that opportunity to connect. And just to what Tom just said, I sincerely hope for so many more of those opportunities as we go forward, especially as we're increasingly in person again.
Yeah, Erin, you got to kind of wrap us up on this segment because you just talked about doing this for 18 years, right? When you started as a student all the way till today, and kind of give us some insights of what maybe future professionals could be doing come Shape NOLA.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just if you get to Shape NOLA, just be all in. It's going to be an eye-opening experience if you haven't been to a national convention, but be prepared to learn so much during the day and then build so many wonderful relationships at night, because the networking doesn't stop when the convention, sessions are over. It continues on until the night. And so I think just embrace it. And as Abigail and Stephanie were saying, like, don't be afraid to talk to people. I can remember at the National Student Leadership Conference that I attended, Lucinda Adams was there, and Shirley Holt Hale. And if you don't know, Lucinda Adams had won a Olympic gold medal, and Shirley Holt Hale is one of the original authors of the children's movement. And it was kind of like those, oh my gosh, she writes my textbook, and like I can't talk to her, right? But it's so important as a student that you just say hi, because people want you to say hi, and you are the future of this profession. And so you're so important, if not the most important part of Shape America and your state organizations. So thanks, everybody.
Okay, Abby, you're the future professional. We end this on sorry about that. My computer just froze for a second. So sorry about that. All right. So with that, Abby, why don't you give us the final word? First of all, I do want to thank you especially. I can't imagine being 20 years old and doing this. Honestly, it's crazy. But I am so blessed that we are both president-elects at the same time. And I can promise you next year, as your president, the whole nation is going to continue to know you. Okay. Just going to say that right now. So with that, why don't you kind of give us our last word of encouragement?
Yeah, so I guess one of the last thing is directly to all the undergraduates and future professionals is just like what Stephanie and Erin both said, is come up and talk to them. I will admit this past November was my very first MOSHAPE convention, and all the exec board members, I'll spill the beans on this one. I was scared to talk to them. I thought they were all big wigs and like they were too busy to talk to me, had all this. No, they're not. They are humans. They want to get to know you. They are teachers first. They want to guide us through. So seriously, take the little nerve, go up and talk to them because they want to meet you. Like they don't just say it, they truly mean it and everything. But no, that's all I got for you, Guy.
Abby, well, it's true because I reach out to you quite often, and I also ask you for ideas quite a bit, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I want your perspective. I think that we don't get it right unless we get that. That was something that I can say, Erin and Stephanie, when we were both in Washington, D.C., that was spoken to us as leaders of our state organizations, that we've got to hear your voice. And that means, and let me just go there with this. It not only means that we want your input, but we also want to give you a vote on the board, because you're an equal. Your voice matters. And that's something I know that, you've seen us do in our state. So, Abby, I'm so glad you shared that, because we are teachers first. That's why we do what we do. That's my why. I'm here because of you. That is just honest to God truth. This is why I'm in education for 13 years. This is the same reason why I took 11 students to the NFL Combine just these last 2 days. It's because I want to give students experiences. I want them to network. I want them to pursue the dream of whatever, is beating your heart. If it's whatever it is to change the world, whatever that looks like to you, we want to help you get there. And that's why we do what we do. So, Abby, I just want to thank you again for just being so bold and courageous, for being on tonight's, Zag Talk podcast, because that's what it's all about. I say this all the time. Why others zig, we zag, and we zag with innovation and ideas. And tonight, ladies, I want to thank you so much for all being here. And just to let everyone know what's coming up next. This is going to be really exciting, but stay tuned in the next week or two. MOSHAPE, as if you didn't catch it, we actually have it pinned to our Twitter page. But we did just recently do Black History Month. We had 3 great panelists there. And coming up, we will reveal very soon, we're going to also be going and doing a live stream for March on Women's History Month. And I know with having 3 ladies on this podcast, that it's got to get you kind of excited. And we're not going to reveal that yet. So you'll have to stay tuned to see what we put out. But I can promise you, it's going to be 3 ladies that have done amazing work in this profession and for this profession. And so I just want to thank all 3 of you again for, being here tonight. And for those of you that might be watching the replay, and I just got to check this really quick. There was just on the comment side, and right here, this is really cool. Just to wrap it up, thank you to the panel. Absolutely. And then, hey, I think you struck a chord in this one, Abby. Thank you all.
Christian, he's my New York student leader with me.
I know. How about that? See, he's dialed into the podcast. All I can tell you is, we might actually do this again sometime, but we'll just have all student leaders. What do you think about that?
I think
Would that
yes.
be cool? Have someone from the West Coast to the East Coast to the Midwest. We'll figure that out. But yeah. So if you're going to watch the podcast, you can also, give comments along the way as well. We'll see those. And let me just get out of this really quick. There we go. For Stephanie Morris, for Erin, Centeio, certainly Abby Lingle, my name is Guy Danoff. We want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's Zag Talk Podcast Live, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Thank you all, and good night.